KY3 News starts now.
Good morning. Temps will skyrocket again today. First Alert meteorologist Brandon Beck also tells us about a small chance for rain.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. In fact, you see the radar. I mean, it's lit up across parts of Kansas, northern Missouri especially. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. I think a lot of that is going to end up staying to the north of the Ozarks, though, and there's no big southward push at this point. But you see, there's a lot of storms up there, kind of closer to I-70, and I honestly think that most of that activity is going to stay in that area this morning. However, as some of that tries to move east-southeast along with a weak front later today, yep, anything that does get this area will likely have some high wind with it. So you see there's an enhanced risk of severe weather kind of close to the Rolla area, maybe toward Eldon, and then the risk decreases the farther south you get. A marginal threat in Springfield, though my bet would be we stay dry, and I think it'll be that way in Arkansas for the most part as well. It is warm out there. Of course, what else is new? Mid to upper 70s. Good grief. 78 in Joplin, 72 in Salem. Seems dreamy. 75 in Mountain Home, and it's still 75 in Rolla as well. High temps, I think they're going to be very similar to yesterday. The exception being up in central Missouri where that risk of storms is a little bit better. We're certainly going to have a good deal of cloud cover around for the first part of the day. It'll thin out a bit, and we're still talking mid-90s. Paul, that silly question that people like to ask sometimes this time of year, hey, is it hot enough for you? Well, in case it's not, I've got hotter temps in that 7-day, and I'll show it to you coming up in just a bit.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. Wearing a mask will no longer just be a suggestion starting tomorrow morning. Elizabeth Van Mietre explains the rules behind this new mandate. Elizabeth.
Yes, good morning, Paul. Yeah, tomorrow, if you do not have one of these across your face when you go in a public place, you could see a hefty fine, $100 if you're caught not wearing one in a public space or area. Businesses could see fines or consequences as well if they're not enforcing it inside of their stores. This morning, I'm talking to you a little bit about when and where you need to have your mask on, plus why the health department believes that this sort of mandate is exactly what we need to slow down the spread of coronavirus right here in our community. Paul?
Elizabeth, based on the comments at the public meeting, the ones I've overheard at a store just yesterday, a number of people either don't believe or don't understand how masks work.
Right. Something that I heard over and over again when I was listening to the meeting, that the public comments, a lot of people were saying that the masks don't work for airborne illnesses, that the CDC, they read from the website that these would not work. Well, as we heard from Cox Medical and Mercy as well, this isn't an airborne illness. It's just not floating throughout the air at all times. It needs a droplet. So this can protect you from getting one of those droplets from someone else infected with coronavirus in your mouth. The health department says this is a great tool to utilize right now. Reporting from Springfield, Elizabeth Van Mietre, back to you.
All right. Some masks can be expensive, which means everyone might not be able to afford them. Heard that talk yesterday too. City leaders say there are things in the works to help those most vulnerable. If you can't buy a mask by tomorrow, there are other options.
It's also important to note that there are ways to make masks out of t-shirts. You can use bandanas. People can get creative.
Police Chief Paul Williams says if you're adhering to 6 feet of social distancing, there's nothing to worry about regarding a citation, but if you're given a ticket, you do need to take it up with the courts. The first COVID-19 vaccine in the U.S. is ready for final testing. Lexi Spivak is in our alert center with the daily numbers in Arkansas and Missouri, and boy, close to 1,000 in one of our states yesterday.
Hey, yeah, Paul. So I want to start off taking a look at one county in particular that did post an update overnight. We're talking about Lawrence County, where they posted to their Facebook page that they're announcing 36 new cases of COVID-19. They also announced their second death in Lawrence County. Now, they did go on to list some exposure locations where some of the positive cases visited. Just going through a couple of them, we got Crown Power Equipment on July 6th, the Walmart in Aurora also, and this list goes on for a while, so make sure you guys check out this Facebook post. I'll be sure to share it on my page. Moving on over to Greene County, we're tracking 301 active cases as of this morning. They too listed a new exposure list. Taking a look at the health department page here, we got Lowe's Home Improvement in Republic listed here. We also have Mama Jean's on South Campbell listed, and also the Walmart Supercenter on South Campbell. And you can see here just how long this list is. So I'm not going to read through every location every time, but it's really important that you head to our news apps and websites where we have this posted as well. So that way you guys can see if you were in these areas at these times. Also, lastly, want to mention, Paul, you said, hey, we are seeing a big increase in both states. In Missouri, we added more than 900 new cases yesterday, and in Arkansas, more than 800. Now, we're going to keep track of those numbers throughout the day.
Thank you much. Many are wondering why new cases of coronavirus spiked by several hundred in Arkansas. Health leaders say more testing isn't the only reason for that increase.
I spoke with Dr. Casey Holder, Vice President of Medical Affairs at St. Bernard's, as well as Dr. Shane Spites, Dean of the NYIT College of Osteopathic Medicine at Arkansas State University. The consensus is clear after talking to both of them. While the number of tests are increasing, it's also important to consider other numbers like the positivity rate.
Even though the testing that we're performing is about the same in volume, we are seeing an increased percentage in the number of people that are coming back positive. So that indicates that there truly is more of the virus in our area.
According to the Arkansas Department of Health, the average positivity rate over the past couple of weeks have been hovering at 12%. Governor Hutchinson said in his press conference today that he believes the average will continue to decrease over time, but he mentioned he would like to see the testing capacity in the state continue to increase to give the state a better idea of which steps to take. Dr. Spites agrees with this notion.
Just to be blunt and honest about this, we don't have enough testing capacity to do the testing that needs to be done across the country. And the reason why is because there are pieces of the testing process that are in short supply.
The doctors say in addition to the increase in tests and positivity rate, the hospitalization rate is something to also keep an eye on. A summer school teacher in Marshfield has been diagnosed with COVID-19. The superintendent says the elementary school teacher has mild symptoms. All students in the teacher's classroom are under a health department ordered quarantine. The district says all the affected families have been notified. If you don't get a call, your child did not get exposed to the virus. The Census Bureau is reminding you that population estimates can have a big impact on funding for local hospitals, health care, and Medicare in your state. And the 2020 census is underway right now. So let's look at Missouri's response rate. It's right at the national average, although Missouri has slid down to 24th. Had been much higher than 24th overall for response rate. I'm going to jump over here to Arkansas. Arkansas not doing quite as well at a 56.8% response rate, well below the national average. Arkansas is actually in the bottom 10 for response rate to the census. Missouri motorcyclists will soon be able to ride without a helmet. A bill signed by Governor Parson waives the helmet requirement for anyone who is at least 26 years old. You must also have health insurance coverage. Now, this change also will mean law enforcement can't pull over motorcyclists just to check if they're following helmet laws. Those changes take effect at the end of August. Riders with instructional permits must still wear helmets. Keep that in mind. June tied 2015 for the third hottest June on record. Only June 2016 and June 2019 heated up more. NOAA says there's a 35% chance 2020 could beat the yearly record for heat. And NOAA, Brandon, both of us know what that stands for, but maybe the folks at home, you ought to help us out with that.
National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Bingo! I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning, yeah. Well, in any case, the heat's going to be in here for a while. It's the time of year for it. But today we've also got a chance for some storms. There's a lot of stuff up here in northern Missouri, and some of our counties may have severe weather today. I'll have a look at the radar.